Hey guys, so level of mental that I am, I'm in Spain and they still have Toysrus here.
I've spent most of the last 5 years wanting to go to a Toysrus again to see what Power Rangers toys would still be in there. Obviously Toysrus Canada is not within easy reach for me. Spain though? Yeah. As I walked up to the entrance, I felt this soothing wave of nostalgia that was nearly 5 years building. But wait, how did I get here? Simple. I looked up where Spain's 46 Toysrus stores were. There's one that I'd like to go to that looks a lot like one of my childhood ones, down to the old logo and paint scheme inside. But that was a bit out of the way, and this one in Los Barrios coincided with me wanting to visit Gibraltar, which is an overseas British territory. I walked across the border into Spain, struggled with the language barrier until the kindness of a stranger meant I got my €2 bus ticket, and after 20-something minutes I was off on foot crossing a motorway. It was kind of American in how far apart it all was, coming into a retail park with a cinema, Carphone Warehouse, remember that, Burger King and some other leisure stores. But the main thing that I'd come for, Toysrus.
Look how much their store contrasts to like everything else that we've got here. So we've got things like Jisk, which we have in the UK, we've got medium marked on the end, we've got CNA, the clothes shop we used to have. It's also standard, so uniform, and then Toysrus does its own thing.
Heading inside was so familiar and simultaneously unfamiliar. Nearly all the text on every sign was Spanish. Bit of a detriment to me, I only know English at the moment. The big front of store area was themed on summer outdoor activities, which seemed very different to what we were used to. One, because we never needed giant outdoor pools in the UK, but two, because our front of store area was usually given over to big movie and TV shows. I knew from my research that when the Power Rangers 2017 movie was out, their store displays looked a lot like ours did. But that was pre-Toysrus US and UK collapse, and during the Bandai era, and this was the Hasbro era. Naturally, the first thing I wanted was to locate any and all Power Rangers toys. There were a few familiar brands already, so I did have hope. The layout of the store was unusual. It was kind of a bit more like the American layout, but it was recognisable enough, and I was able to walk right to the section despite never having been there before.
Well, I found the only Power Rangers item in Spanish Toysrus, Dyna Fury Morpha. At least they didn't put any sounds in it, like words, so it's exactly the same music as what we got. Did my part anyway, stood them all up.
What the store lacked in Power Rangers though, they more than made up for in dinosaurs.
These are pretty big. Expensive. Well, not that expensive actually.
Overall, the store was just a really relaxing place to be. The only thing lacking, besides all the usual brand displays, were customers. It was quiet, but I mean, it was a Wednesday lunchtime. Disappointed then by the lack of Power Rangers, it didn't mean I didn't appreciate just traversing the store, remembering what it was like to have toy stores this bright, majestic and grand. How cool it was to see all these vehicles. Nowhere has dedicated areas like this anymore. All other options are just online now. They naturally had sections for all the newer trends like Squishmallows, a lot of Barbie, like a lot. I know there was a film out, but wow. There was some nice Avengers display roleplay. There was a stage, which I think when isn't being used for storage is used for Jeffrey the Giraffe appearances. There were definitely a lot of adult themed collector toys, there were a lot of plushies. My plan B after Power Rangers was to get a Jeffrey Giraffe plush toy, but they didn't have one of those either.
I love this, look, it's a burger, and then literally turn it inside out, and it's pizza. I'm realising there's like nothing Jeffrey branded. I wonder if that has become intellectual property that stayed with the Western version of Toysrus, the comeback stores that are tiny. because it's literally all I've seen is a football with the Toys.Us logo on, so maybe they just have access to the logo.
There'd actually been quite a small toy store in Gibraltar which had 4 different Power Ranger products in, 2 of which were Lightning Collection, 2 of which were Dino Fury. So actually there were more Power Ranger toys in Gibraltar than this giant Toys.Us store a few miles away in Spain. I'd gone there first and I'd basically dismissed it, assuming that the Toys.Us would be better. The book section was really nice, like purpose lit. I could imagine looking through those for quite a while. Remember all these like scientific gadget sets you could get? They were cool. Again, something that I just didn't appreciate at the time, that Toys.Us was largely one of the only places you could get those, at least in person. This is the kind of stuff that just gets squeezed out now. You wouldn't see it anywhere else. They had lots of this like play pretend home stuff in kids scale. You don't see that anywhere either. I did consider the party stuff for a while, hoping that there would be something that I wanted, but there just wasn't. It was all just pretty generic stuff. I think in my lifetime, Toys.Us highlight literally was riding the Times Square Ferris wheel, seeing Saba and the movie figures on the shelves back in 2015, and my lowlight was the gradual discounted emptying of my childhood store up to seeing it 90% empty on its final day in 2018.
End of the 90s era, goodbye to Toys.Us.
This visit ranks sufficiently in the middle of my Toys.Us experiences to date. I did consider this Toys.Us branded football, but I figured I would never get it home. Also, what am I going to do with a football, you know? The till point was kind of my last chance to pick some stuff up. When Toys.Us UK closed down, I did manage to get some Toys.Us branded batteries, but they didn't have those anymore, or at least not in Spain. I thought how cool it would be to be a kid these days, looking for stationery. I found an astronaut pencil and eraser set that I thought looked kind of fun. The bags for life was something really easy that I could flatten and squeeze into my cabin baggage to get home with, and so I settled on a Harry Potter one. Then as I left and I was paying, I saw behind the cashier there was this Toys.Us branded bag, which in retrospect I probably should have bought multiple of. It was really cool, it's really strong, brightly coloured. I enjoy using it. Then as I was leaving, I noticed they even had this free Toys.Us branded gift wrap section. Kind of wish I'd used it, although just, to wrap up a pencil set? I kind of talked myself out of it at the time.
So I've just left the Toys.Us here in southern Spain. That was very therapeutic. It was very much like going back to a kind of religious pilgrimage church of some description, even though it was all Spanish, even though the only Power Rangers toy they had was from practically 3 years ago now, even though I just bought things just kind of for the sake of buying them. You know, it was fun to be in there again, and it was fun to see all the stuff that you just forget they stock, because nowhere does that. Yeah, I miss them. I hope we see them back this size rather than the new tiny size, concession size that we've been getting. Yes, my sunglasses are nice, aren't they? I don't know if I'll ever be back to the one in Spain or the ones in Spain. There are multiple. I don't know how long they'll last. They seem about as quiet as the ones we had in Britain were before they went bust. So, I mean, I bought 2 bags for life and an astronaut pencil set, so did my part. I was wrong. Jeffrey is totally outside on the signage, so don't know where I got that from. All in all, a good trip.
And that was it. That was Toys.Us Spain. It wasn't my store. It wasn't a store that I really understood a lot of what was in there, but it was still Toys.Us. It still had that heart and soul, and that's what I miss.